Welcome everyone to the Rating Writing Corner. I'm your host, Leanne, and I'm so glad to see you. If this is your first time here, pull up a seat, sit down, and let us talk. And if you've been here before, well, we're not, with the drill. We're talking about the non-spoiled review for Desire Untamed in this first part of the video for Pamela Palmer. This is for a series called Feral Warriors. Now about the series, a paranormal romance between immortals offers searing kisses, passionate interludes, in an intriguing world. What made me read this book is a paranormal romance. That's it. That's what made me read it. It's a paranormal romance. I like paranormal romance. Okay, so Feral Warriors, an elite band of immortals who can change shape at will, sworn to rid the world of evil, consumed by sorcery and seduction. Their wild natures are primed for release. Kara McAllister's quiet small town life is transformed forever the night a powerful stranger rips her from her home, claiming she is the chosen one, the key to his survival. Spiriting her way into the rain-soaked night, Lion reveals a truth Kara can barely credit. She's immortal, and the only one who can save his race. And deep within her, he arouses a fierce primal hunger beyond anything she's ever imagined. But only when their lives are threatened by an ancient evil will Kara and Leon realize that they have found a love that would risk their immortal souls to claim. A powerful desire that can never, ever be tamed. So, Leon and his feral warriors need their radiance, or radiant, that will give them power and hold them together and alive, and keep them alive. He, the finder, must search her out. Kara thought she was normal, but her mother hid the truth from her. Now she must find out who and what she is and where she belongs in the world. This entire book is a setup of the characters, the plot, and the motives of said characters, because it's an overarching plot type of book. Yes, that's what it is. It's an overarching plot within 8 books. So this is mainly a setup. How the characters react to the situation is how I imagined people would react. Kara learned something that was hidden from her entire life, and it changed her, and it made her question everything. The genre is, of course, considered paranormal romance. Did this live up my expectations? Yes, it was good paranormal romance, but for some of the world building, no. I didn't like some of it. Which character did I like the most? Kara, for having her mother dying and her world turned upside down. Which secondary character stood out the most? Pink! Because she does not have a normal name. And her actual character. Once we get into the spoils section, once you realize what Pink is, you'll understand why she stood out the most. What was more important, the characters or the plot? The setup of the characters was more important than the plot because we only get a little bit of the plot in the middle and the rest of it 3/4 of the way through the book. The rest was the setup of the characters in the world and how it functioned. It had multiple voices from a third-person point of view, and it did not affect my reading. So, ending this part of the non-spoiler review, because as always, these are very small parts and sections of the review. You have, should you go and read this story/series? Yes, if you love paranormal romance with an overarching plot that spans many books. No, if you do not like the way certain aspects is set up within the story. It was something that I did not like myself, and that aspect was more of the rituals and how those rituals were carried out and giving the feral warriors their powers. Honestly, I didn't really like it. So if you like to give me a comment, a like, or even your subscription as you're leaving the non-spoiler section of this to go watch another video, hopefully another one of mine, please do so. Alright, so those people who didn't want to get spoiled, they left. Good. I don't know what this is on the front of the cover of the book. I really don't know. Okay? You learn there is some legal that needs to be explained before you can go any further within the story. Radiant. It is a Therian woman that helps conduct energy from the earth into the warriors to protect the earth and the people that live on it. Therian is a race within this story. Shapeshifters that can turn into animals. Only 9 remain, and the thing about this is that only one of the feral warriors of the Therian race becomes a feral warriors, it can shapeshift. And there used to be like a lot of them, because every animal had a spirit that would choose a Therian male to take the form of when they shapeshift. Now there's only 9 of them. Feral warriors, that is the name of the warriors that call themselves, that fight against the evil forces on Earth to protect the Earth. Demon, the evil forces upon Earth that were sealed away within a demon blade. Okay, the demon blade, the blade of the demons, are sealed within. It was bloodied by the feral warriors because someone accidentally brought it to the ceremony, but it was an accident because they were mind altered to do so. About the best I can say. The Drayden, which is the energy of the demon left behind by the demons after they were sealed within a demon blade. The pairing ceremony, the ceremony that will pair the Radiant with her feral warrior mate for life. It's supposed to never fail, but when it's messed with, it does. Feral house, the house where the feral warriors call home. Mage, the enemies of the Therian race. They can perform magic. They help seal away the demons. They keep starting a war because they believe they should be the ones that hold on to the demon blade instead of the feral warriors. Yes, the feral warriors can release it, but no, they're never going to, because their whole life is to protect the world from them and the Drayden. Mother Earth, what they call Earth that gives energy to the Radiant to share with the feral warriors in the Therian race. A cantrip. A device implanted in a mage that allows them to perform feats of magic. The Ascension Ceremony. The ceremony that ascends the Radiant and gives energy to the feral warriors so they can shift into their animal form and fight against the Drayden. The Pairing Ceremony and the Ascension Ceremony have naughty stuff that deals with it, and I don't like how that deals with it, because you got to get the Radiant has to be excited in a certain way in order for the pairing ceremony to happen. And the way that they choose who the pairing is that they kiss, each of the warriors will kiss her, and if their fingers turn blue, it means that they're the mate. Yeah. And for the Ascension Ceremony, the non-chosen mates have to all be holding her around the legs or feet while the Radiant and her mate if you get my drift. That's the aspect I didn't like about the world building. Okay. There's also Dark Charm, a charm that harms the feral warriors and makes things uneasy and weird and awkward and dangerous for them. So in this first book, you meet main characters, side characters, and important recurring characters for this book. The characters are Leon. He grew up with the name Arthur Bannister, leader of the feral warriors and the finder of the Radiance. He can turn into an actual lion. Okay. And each warrior has one of these bracelet things on the side of their arms, which is the face of the animal that they can turn into. Kara's mother, the woman that raised Kara as human, even though the woman knew she was not human. Kara McAllister, the new Radiant that did not know she was a Therian. As a woman, she called her mother, raised her human, and told her nothing. No, she was obviously kidnapped from her real parents and everything, but you don't get to find out who her real parents are. Jag, one of the feral warriors, he can turn into a jaguar. Viper, one of the feral warriors, he can turn into a viper snake. He became possessed by a Drayden or a demon somehow and is lost to the feral warriors. That's why there's only 8 books, even though there are 9. You can consider him lost. I mean, now there's only 8. Teague, one of the feral warriors, he can turn into a tiger. You have Fox, one of the feral warriors, he can turn into a fox, of course. The fox is spelled Foxx. He was supposed to mate with Zephine. That did not happen at all because she was an evil witch. And they got manipulated. And she wasn't even Therian. Hawk, one of the feral warriors, he can turn into an actual hawk. Well, obviously that's why his name is Hawk with an E. And Viper is actually spelled Vyerper. Lion is spelled Lyon. Jag is just Gag. Teague is Tighe. You also have Panther, which is Panther, one of the feral warriors. He can turn into an actual panther. Then you have Wolf, Wulfe. He's the last feral warrior, and he can turn into an actual wolf. Okay. Then you have Pink. She was supposed to be one of the feral warriors, I guess, because it's a flamingo, that spirit that she's supposed to have. But she had been a twin in the womb, and the flamingo spirit split between the two twins. One, her sister or brother, I don't know if it was a boy or a girl, died. They thought it would unite the flamingo spirit, but it didn't. So Pink was stuck as a half human, half flamingo for her life, and that's like, they don't die easily. They don't age fast either. So she's unable to turn into a full human, into a full flamingo, and she's also, of course, got pink in her. That's why she's called Pink. You have Beatrice, which is only mentioned. She was a previous variant that died from a Drayden in the middle of the night, which I do find out that it was Zephyri's fault, because Zephyri's the one who let the Drayden in while she was sleeping. Everything was Zephyri's fault. Everything. You have a shaman. A shaman of the Therian race that can heal wounds and detect dark charms and remove them. Asmira, which was briefly introduced, a Therian woman that allowed the feral warriors to stay at their house when it became obvious the feral house was dangerous. Then you have Marinina, a Therian woman that lived with Esmeralda. She was drained of her energy by one of the clones of the feral warriors. Yes, that happens. There are clones of the feral warriors. A lot of them died, but some of them didn't. Oh, wait, never mind. There was one more. Cougar. I forgot about him. Kougar. One of the feral warriors. He's actually the last feral warrior. He can turn into an actual cougar. So with a C. Then you have Santana, a high demon, the one that's actually sealed in the blade. One of them. Then you have Zephina. She was a mage that tricked the feral warriors with a dark magic and a dark charm. She stole half of their souls to create clones of them to use for her plan to release the demon from the demon blade. So she's also one that made Kara feel uncomfortable within it. She's the one that planted that cantrip within Kara's body. I guess a long time ago. I'm not sure. I don't really know when it was planted. She manipulated each of the feral warriors to give her permission to take half their soul without them realizing it. Kara actually killed her after Leon severely injured her. So there are several POVs within this story. They're all third person. They're Leon and Karen are the ones that I can say for sure. I do not remember if there were more or not, because it was switching back and forth a lot between them. And it was somewhat difficult to find out which POVs there really were within it. My favorite character was Leon, because he was fighting his lust and trying to do his duty to the feral warriors, but he wanted Kara. He would have had Kara during the first pairing ceremony had it not been rigged, because they're mates. Kara and Leon are mates. My most disliked character was Zephine for manipulating everyone. She is the reason the previous regent Beatrice died. She stole half their souls and tried to kill Kara. She is the reason the pairing ceremony was rigged, because she had tight control over Viper. And he's still left with the demonic blade. So he has a demonic blade. He's under the demon's control somehow, and that's just a mess there. It was told in chronological order with information on their background spoken and explained to both the reader and Kara at appropriate language for an adult paranormal romance. That's what I liked about the way they introduced it. Kara myself didn't know anything about it, so explaining it to her also explained it to the reader. There were hints of foreshadowing within the story that were not obvious until it was revealed that Zephine was behind it all. The suspense was done well as it built up to whether or not Kara and the Viper would mate. Then Viper and Zephine would kill Kara while trying to drain her of her blood for a ritual to awaken the demon blade, the demons within the demon blade. The background of Kara is explained, and the feral warriors and Therian's backgrounds are explained well enough for the readers to understand. For this book, there is not a lot of information on the other feral warriors, such as what happened to the ones that no longer exist, and as well as the current ones. But those will happen within the next book. I think the only one you won't really get much information on is Viper, but we'll see. The title of the book meant Leon could not tame his desire for Kara, and Kara couldn't tame her desire for Leon. The cover of the book shows who Leon is supposed to be with his bracelet on his left arm, the lion. What stood out as memorable was the way the feral warriors treated Pink with respect. She must have had a hard time living her life the way she does because of her body. And they all treated her with the greatest amount of respect they could possibly have. My favorite passage from my favorite passage from the story is she had to stay. As bizarre as it might seem, the world was depending on her. Miss McAllister, preschool teacher, radiant, the source of power for the guardians of the world. So she didn't really want to stay in that world, but she didn't realize she didn't have a choice, because if she wanted to protect the world and those that she cared within it, she had to stay. My favorite quote, I proudly see as a Tom. So even though Leon can change into a lion, he can actually change the size, and he can turn down into a very small looking cat. So he looks like a cat, even though he's just a small lion. And I thought that was pretty. What I thought about the ending of the book, it was okay. Honestly, Viper disappeared. He took the blade with him. Zephyri's dead, which is of course good. Kara and Leon are mates, so Kara ascends as a Radiant and has accepted her place within the Feral Warriors, and she wants to protect them all. Proves that she's brave and that she accepted her fate. She thought she was a mage. She was like, I accept the fact that I don't belong, but you know, I'm gonna do what I can to protect you anyways. Because I did think she was a mage because of the kank turn inside of her, but it turns out that it was just implanted. It made them think she was. Which book did it remind me of? It reminded me of the Midnight Breed series by Laura Adrian, and the Midnight Next Generation series by Laura Adrian, and the Nightwalker series by Jacqueline Frank. Paranormal romance with an overarching plot. This book, as you know, is part of a series called Feral Warriors. There are 8 books in the series. I rated this book a 3. Even though it was a good story with a good setup of characters, it would have been higher if the naughty acts were not so weird and I mean, having loving time in front of several others is not something that sounds enjoyable, especially at first when the woman does not know what is happening, nor wants it after she knows, because she doesn't want it. She doesn't want it to happen because she finds it weird and disturbing and ick. It is only when she has to perform the ceremony to ascend, so it did leave a nasty taste in my mouth. I'll continue reading the story, but not for that stuff. More for the overarching plot of the Demon Blade, and whether or not the demons are going to be released and how they're going to fight them and who the other one's mates are. So you have Jag, Teague, Fox, Hawk, Panther, Wolf, and Cougar to find out who their mates are. I wonder if Viper's mate was Beatrice. I wonder who Beatrice's mate was. That's never explained either. And with that, if you think I deserve a like, comment, or your lovely subscription, drop it down below. I will see you next illusion.